flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, full house. Thank you for being here, everybody. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda? I did have maybe adding a number 9 after the consent agenda. Just want to talk about the post office FOIA request. So I'd like to add that. Does anybody else have any changes? If not, I would take a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Robin, seconded by Rick to approve the agenda as amended. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Agenda is approved. All right, guests and open forum. I think we have a couple speakers here tonight. So did we have some people sign up? Yeah, come on forward if you would. Right up to the microphone here and just state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Davenport and I live over in Oralt. Again, Vanessa Davenport. I'm here because I'm running for Minnesota House District 27A, which is y'all's area. As you can tell, I'm not from here. I'm originally from Tennessee. I was raised by a single mother. By the time I was in high school, I was working 3 jobs in order to make ends meet and to also put myself through college, which unfortunately I'm still paying for, which I'm sure many others are as well. That experience has shaped how I see responsibility, work, and accountability. Since then, I've served in the U.S. Navy active as a logistics specialist aboard the USS Nimitz during its longest deployment since Vietnam. Today, I'm an analyst in the electric industry here in Minnesota. I also stay pretty active in our community through the Lions and Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, supporting local veterans and families. Service has always been a huge part of my life. And that's the main reason why I'm running, is I want to continue that, but in a different realm. I'm running because families in our rural communities shouldn't carry the tax burden alone, while large corporations and the wealthiest continue to benefit without paying their fair share. I'm running because when companies like data centers come into our communities, they should pay for their own infrastructure and protect our water and natural resources. I'm running because government should answer to voters, not corporate donors. My background has taught me that most people want the same thing. We all want good jobs, we all want safe communities, and we all want a government that's accountable with their tax dollars. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're coming from. That's a leadership I'm offering, focused on service, accountability, and putting our communities first. I'm holding a meeting next Tuesday at 6:30 over at Brickyard Bar and Grill in Clear Lake, if anybody would like to come. And there's another one on the following Tuesday on the 31st at Loopland, 6:30, if anybody'd like to come. No expectations, it's just conversation. That is it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your service as well. Do we have another speaker? Did we have 2 signed up tonight or just 1? Anybody else want to talk? All right, we will move on then to committee reports, presentations, and awards. Looks like we have some swearing in of some police officers. We'll call on Chief Lindblom to come forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is always a kind of a fun event for everybody to be a part of, and my first time getting to be on this end of it, so that's pretty exciting. Prior to conducting your regular business, I'm pleased to present 3 individuals tonight who are going to formally join the ranks of the Becker Police Department. Some who have been here for a little while, and others who have just completed their FTO program. The decision to pursue a career in law enforcement is not one made lightly. It is a commitment to serve this community, often under difficult and unpredictable circumstances, with professionalism, integrity, and compassion. The men and women who take this oath accept responsibility that extend far beyond the job description. They accept a calling. Tonight, as these officers raise their right hands and take the oath of office, they are not simply beginning employment, they are making a solemn promise to the residents of Becker, a promise to uphold the Constitution, to protect life and property, and to carry out the duties of this office with honor. I'm going to take a quick moment to introduce each of the three, and then we'll come up for the swearing in portion of it. First would be Officer Cody Pausch, who was hired in February 5th of 2025 as a part-time officer with our department. Cody grew up in the Detroit Lakes area, earned his law enforcement degree from Alexandria Technical College in 2021. Currently serves as the full-time school resource officer for the Foley Police Department, a role that speaks to his dedication to community and to our youth. Outside of work, Cody coaches baseball for Foley, enjoys time on the water fishing. He and his wife Hannah recently welcomed their first child, Harper, who is here tonight. Hannah will pin on Cody's badge, and we wish the Pausch family all the best as they begin this new and exciting portion of their lives together. Jeff Webster, he was hired May 8th, 2025 as a part-time officer with the Becker Police Department. He brings with him nearly 14 years of law enforcement experience, most recently serving as a detective with the Brooklyn Park Police Department. Throughout his career, he served as a hostage and crisis negotiator on the Brooklyn Park SWAT team, a recruiter, a mentor, union board member, and member of the Crisis Negotiators Association of Minnesota. Jeff grew up in Maple Grove and earned a degree in criminology from the University of Minnesota Duluth. And he has recently transitioned to the private sector, but his commitment to public service remains clear, and we're fortunate to have him joining us. Jeff lives in Big Lake with his wife Peyton and their two sons, Charlie and Logan. Tonight, his son Charlie, with some help potentially from Peyton, has the honor of pinning on his dad's badge. And finally, Officer Hunter Hankels, who was hired on November 12th of 2025 as a full-time officer with our department. He has recently completed his field training. He's currently assigned to our overnight patrol shift. Hunter grew up in Coon Rapids, graduated from Blaine High School, and earned his law enforcement degree from Alexandria Technical College in 2017. He brings with us 3 years of law enforcement experience, most recently with the Meeker County Sheriff's Office and the Eden Valley Police Department. Outside of work, Hunter enjoys outdoor projects, hockey, golf, and spending time with friends and family. Tonight, his daughter has the honor of pinning on his badge, a moment that I think we can all agree is a pretty special part of some of these evenings. So with that, I will have the three individuals step up. I'll introduce them to you. You can put a face to their names, then we'll go through the actual oath. So come on up, Cody, Hunter. So Cody Pausch, Hunter Hankels, and Jeff Webster. If you guys just want to kind of stand across from me. And we'll raise your right hand. All right. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my character, or the public trust. I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer in the city of Becker to the best of my judgment and ability. So help me God. All right. So first up, we'll have Cody's badge pinned on by his wife, Hannah. All right, thank you. And Jeff, see how this goes. Nice job. And Hunter. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, no. All right. I also cried like that the first time I was in front of council, so it works. That being said, I ask that the council and those in attendance join me in acknowledging these three officers. And then, as is customary for our swearing-ins, we will vacate and go enjoy some refreshments. Feel free to come after the meeting. All right, thank you.
All right, welcome, guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here. Thanks for your service to our community, and God bless.
Everybody out. All right.
Some really interesting road stuff to talk about if anybody wants to stay, but I guess not. All right. Can't compete with the cake they're gonna go eat, I suppose. I get it.
Well, it's nice to have the council chambers filled up once in a while.
Exactly.
11 minutes.
Standing room only.
Good thing we're not on a boat here. We're about ready to capsize.
All right, we'll get back to the agenda. 6B, we have our committee reports, personnel. I will take that. We met a week ago Friday, and we talked really about three things. All of them are on the consent agenda tonight. One is the healthcare. We just had to have a policy amendment to be compliant with what the state wants us to do. We talked about the red circle pay as well for the golf course, and that was about it. I guess we had a third item, just the holidays. We just made a little correction to get that kind of worked out, so we're all in alignment with the different holidays. Any questions about personnel? Awesome. EDA?
EDA met on Monday, March 9th. Most of our time, we talked about how we want to use our reserve funds and just kind of threw out ideas and had discussion about that. Nothing was decided. We'll be looking into that more in depth. And a monthly market update, which is very similar to what it has been. 20 homes on the market right now, 4 sold in the last 30 days.
All right. Any questions for Robin on EDA? All right, move on to Public Works.
Public Works, we met last Wednesday. We had several items, number 7, A, B, C, D, E, and F, which we approved to be forwarded to council for consideration. And the other thing that we discussed was doing a traffic study on 3rd Street North.
All right, questions for Mike? We'll move on to Park and Rec.
Park and Rec met last night. We talked about the youth baseball sponsorship program. They're going to have some signage or banners on some of the fences at the BAC. And what else did we talk about? Oh, the new park, which will be Sand Hill Park. We just talked about some of the ideas of what might go on over there and when.
That's the one by the compost?
Yep,
Oh, that's the name of it?
yep, Sand Hill. Then we talked about the entrances and exits at the BAC as well, and just put some ideas into motion there.
Okay, questions for Robin? Fire board's next. Reviewed the calls. We're kind of on par with last year, so our call volume has been pretty steady. We'll be looking at a capital expenditure of a Lucas machine, so we have some possible donations coming in for that. That's kind of the automatic CPR machine. We're due for a new one of those. We're working on getting some HVAC quotes. The air handlers on that building are all original to the building, and so that's been 20-some years, and it's time
Not
to...
long already, huh?
It's shocking, right? It has. And along with that, since we're doing, looking at replacing some HVAC, we also haven't addressed anything on the roof. So we're kind of looking at maybe getting an inspection, because again, it's a flat roof and it's been over 20 years and we haven't done any maintenance. So before we get any leaks, we thought if we have a crane and we're up there doing some work, that would be the correct time to do that. So we're looking at some quotes on that. And we are getting stuff together for the audit, which will be kicking off here pretty soon, so. That's about it for Fire Board. Any questions on that? All right, we'll move on then to Board, Committee, and Consultant Reports. Letter A, Mr. Knutsen's up with the 2026 Street Improvement Plan approval and bid advertisement authorization.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. Our annual rite of passage is to come in front of you and talk about street improvements. So here we are again, looking at a variety of streets this year. We're more kind of congregated into one location or a couple locations with our streets. So what we're looking at this year is again reclaiming and reproducing the streets. What we're proposing are Hillcrest Road, Pineview Drive, the section from River Street to Rolling Ridge. We're looking at adding a connection, Jade Street and 35th Avenue on the east side of town. Doesn't exist right now. A lot of the infrastructure is in, but there's no curb or road. So we're looking at connecting that would make 4 saleable lots for private property and 3 saleable lots for the city. Planning, I believe, is going to start looking at a possible preliminary plat for that as well. So you have saleable lots that we could look to move and get some building going there. We're also looking at Martin Drive, Carroll Drive from Abbey Avenue to Laura Circle, Abbey Avenue, and Twyla Avenue as well. With this project, part of the base bid, the Public Works Facility, we're looking to improve the parking lot where we just finished the additional building on the Gardner Street address. So that'll be part of that. It'll be isolated so we can keep track of the dollars because they'll come from separate buckets. But we're going to try and get the economy of scale by bidding it with this project. The alternative that we're looking at, this is a carryover from last year. The Avalon, the Birdie Lane development has switched developers. So wear course on Birdie Lane and a small section of Fairway Lane needs to be done. And along with that, raising the irons, different things like that. So we're putting that as a part of this project as well, so we can again isolate those numbers. And talking with the new developer that's responsible for that, he's not familiar with the paving side of it, so if the numbers come favorable, he's likely to have us do the project. In any case, if it's not favorable, our inspection that we do on all of our streets will be part of that regardless of who he uses for the project. So we're hopeful that we're going to see some favorable pricing, that we come back in and we can just take care of that project in one fell swoop as well. So with that, what we're looking for tonight is for approval on the plans and specs as were shown to you, and authorization for staff to take this project out to bid with the dates shown. I believe the time opening for the bid date is April 13th, and then we would look to, if given the approval, we would bring it back to council for consideration on the 21st. And with that, I can stand for any questions on this project.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Phil on the street improvements? All right, anybody want to offer a motion on resolution 2622?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Rick, second by Mike for resolution 2622. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. That motion's carried.
Thank you.
And we're up to Edgewood.
One of the easiest projects we're going to intake. I've been with the city now for almost 7 years, and this one is going to be interesting. So Edgewood, obviously, it's a well-traveled road. It's about 1.4 miles from 23 to Highway 10, and we're looking at doing the whole section along with the trail. It's one of the most heavily traveled roads and pedestrian bike path, walkers, runners, you name it, not just from the community, but from the township as well. So there's a high importance there. We've visited this on a variety of things. We've talked with some of the access points we've got, increasing sight lines. Throw on top of that, the county's working on CSAH 23 and improving some of the trail and adding the trail out to the park. So there's a lot of moving parts to get this thing together. But the gist of what we're looking to do is make overall improvements to Edgewood. The road width of Edgewood is going to remain similar to what it is right now. The section that we're recommending from CSAH 23 to Brenda Boulevard would be put with curb and gutter, so we can kind of retain that water. The trail, we can get the trail out of the ditch in the whole corridor, but we'd elevate that up and collect that water. That water would be conveyed over to the golf course underneath 23. So a lot of moving parts with that one. A couple of the highlights on this section, because of MSAS, the design standards are a little bit tighter to work through. The corridor, we're looking to move that stop sign with this tonight and final plans. We would make the recommendation that we would move that speed corridor and the whole section of that street from 23 to Highway 10 to 35 miles an hour. Staff recommended that through Public Works. Public Works has supported that. I've met with the police chief to walk him through that as well, and he's given full support of his department to enforce that speed as well, and understanding the safety and the combination of pedestrians and motorists as well. So a couple of other things to call out. We've moved, or proposing to move, the trail on the west side of the project. With the potential of Luann Drive being completed, we would keep the trail on the south side of the road up to 27th Avenue. I think it's 27th Avenue.
At the church?
Yes. So we'd get through the intersection and then cross at the church to the trail that goes north to the History Center. So basically you move that crosswalk up. We eliminate both of the crosswalks at Prairie Village Estates, I believe it is. So again, we'd reduce some of those pedestrian conflicts, bring them to one side of it. Along with that, we'd look at 3rd Street to potentially put sidewalks that would take you from 3rd Street west to Brandt and east to Brenda. And then you could cross in those. We could eliminate the crosswalk at 3rd Street, and we wouldn't increase anybody's foot traffic, whether they're walking or biking to get there. So we're just trying to clean this thing up. So instead of having 8 crosswalks out there, we could bring it down to 4 or 5. And so the motorists would pay more attention to what they're seeing in the crosswalks. It'd make them more important. A side note on this, I've been working with Connexus Energy to light up basically every other street or Highline pole that's out there. I have a meeting set up with them on Monday to walk through and review the corridor. The potential is to add 8 to 10 high arm LED lights out there. There's currently 3. We've heard from a lot of folks. Becky's been pretty vocal on this as well. We don't have enough illumination out there. So the goal is to light the trail, but it'll bleed into the road as well. And we'll hit every intersection that's out there. So we'll make sure that all the intersections are lit up as well. So a lot of stuff going on with that. And like I said, we're also tying this in with the county project. So I'm kind of rambling on this thing. I've got Bryce and Randy standing behind me. They're carrying the water on this thing. Bryce has done a great job on that, but I'm going to have them talk a little bit about the MSAS standards and the timelines that we've got to work with on this project as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Phil touched base on several of the high-level state aid issues. In fact, you've kind of been down this process once before and maybe not even realized it. When we improved 97th, those plans had to meet state aid standards, had very similar reviews as what we're going through right now. So when you became a state aid city with a population of 5,000, as you're aware, it opened up another pot of funding for road improvements. With that funding, though, is what we call the state aid process. So we have additional sets of eyes that review our drawings. So the construction drawings get reviewed, the stormwater design and analysis gets reviewed. And so we have to make those submittals, which have been made, and now they're pending review and comments back by MnDOT district staff. So we have to go through that process before we get basically the clearance to bid the project or advertise for bids. And so the action, at least before the council now, is to get it in front of the council, get that part cleared so that when we do get the approval from state aid, we can immediately advertise for bids. Phil mentioned a number of the state aid standards are related to lane widths, trail widths, design speeds, grades, so a lot of engineering details that I won't go into, but it's another level of review that we don't necessarily have to deal with when we're doing like your 2026 street improvements. So you're free to make many more of the design decisions relative to street and sidewalk improvements. With state aid, we have some more rigid standards to work through. I think Phil might have mentioned one of the other requirements that we have, just like we did with 97th, we do have to secure some easements where some of the grading or construction activity may get outside of the formal road right-of-way. So Phil, staff have already socialized that with the affected property owners. So once we have final approval of the plans, I'm estimating there may be 2 to 3 easements that will formalize with adjacent property owners so that some of the proposed construction can occur slightly outside of the right-of-way. So that'll be one step that we have to take in addition to the plan approval. And then your legal team's also involved in that effort as well. So, Phil, did I miss any other details? As Phil mentioned, Bryce has been leading our design effort in coordination with MnDOT, and so Bryce is carrying the water on the technical design if you have questions on that front. So.
Just maybe so one of the when we think about Edgewood, one of the anytime we have a rainfall, there's a huge water collection there, and I know we were talking about curb and gutter to address some of that. At the end of the day, do we have a spot for that water to go? Whether we use curb and gutter to run it somewhere else,
Especially where we're installing curb and gutter, now we have to introduce storm sewer to collect it. So when Phil mentioned coordinating with Sherburne County, a lot of the eastern half of the project will be picked up by curb and gutter and new storm sewer additions that will be piped to the ponds at the golf course. And so we do have a receiving body and actually will serve double purpose in terms of the golf course's use of that stormwater. So other areas of the project or western areas of the site where we still will have a rural design where water comes off of the street, we'll be relying on the ditches and even some of the ponds at the west end of the site. So that, what I mentioned, is being reviewed. Also, the hydrology, where stormwater is going, the pipe sizes, that's also reviewed by a state engineer as part of this process.
and then for the another question, then for the trail that will be vacating, if you want to say, will we actually be pulling that up as part of this, or will that just be left? Or
No, we'll remove the bituminous on the north side and then restore that with turf.
All right, any other questions for Randy or Bryce?
Well, the only thing I had about the whole thing was adding these new sidewalks. I'm not a big fan of putting a path on both sides of the road, and there is a section that's like that. We talked about it in Public Works, but I guess if we gotta do it, we gotta do it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. As someone who drives that every day, when you come over that hill, we're obviously not gonna be able to get rid of that entire hill. But when you come over that and it's just 3 in a row, I think people just zone it out. It happens 3 times so fast that, I think it's safer for people if you're out for a walk anyway and you choose not to walk an extra block.
Yep.
I guess you're kind of taking matters into your own hands, but I'm hoping we can really make that one crosswalk there very prominent, and I think it'll definitely increase the safety.
Will there be crosswalk warning signs?
There would be, so any crossings that would cross Edgewood, yes, there would be advanced warning signs. And so you also would have some option depending on how enhanced you want to make those. So we certainly see instances where more critical crossings may have LED encrusted type signs. Those are, you could say, upgrades. Same thing with our RFBs, kind of similar to what you see on 23 here by the school, so push button activated. Now, those are incremental. There are also design standards as to when those are needed or necessary. Those are a little bit more based on pedestrian and bicyclist crossing counts. But if there were some specific concerns that the council had, the next step would be to look at LED or push button LED signage.
I think the push buttons, that's one thing I've always I've felt we've needed out there. Just as, you know, most of us know, when you drive either sun up or sun down, you know, it's an east-west street. And when you get that sun coming at you, it is really hard to see. I mean, I'll be looking to see if I can see somebody, you know, sitting there by the cross or going across, and it's hard to see. And at least with a flashing light, I think that would be
It's one of those things that it helps catch the driver's attention, but it also sometimes can give a false sense of security, right? When somebody sees a light flashing, sometimes pedestrians think that, well, the vehicles are automatically gonna stop. And so we have to be a little bit careful as to how those signs are applied, but they definitely are a little bit more eye-catching for drivers. And as you point out, if there may be a visibility or sun issue, it's helpful. Mayor, the intersection you're referring to is 27th or further east?
Further east.
Okay.
Because you got Brant, Third, and Brenda all happen so quickly, and if you're driving east, you're coming over the hill, and
Yeah.
I think if we just have one there, everybody crosses there, hopefully we'll get,
You're gonna shave some of that hill off, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a couple areas, that's another one of the design standards in terms of the profile, or what we call the vertical curve. And so there are standards that we have to meet for the design speeds. So there is some shaving of the hill down in a couple locations.
How does that work? So we got the Clitty farm is there, and even though they're technically not city residents, but still, it's, you know, it's a neighboring property. Their driveway's at the top of that hill. If we shave the hill down, you know, if their driveway's here, the hill's here, how do we negotiate that?
So that is one of the properties that I mentioned in terms of Phil has already had conversations with Mr. Clitty in terms of access and formalizing an easement. So there's been some cooperation there, both for the trail construction as well as the grading. So that property owner particularly has been pretty accommodating.
yep, he was here last week at the 1025 open house and plans to come. We do have an open house, is it on the 23rd, right? Next Monday, the 23rd from 5 to 7 here at City Hall, so that would be great if anybody has questions and want to look a little further at what we're doing, but I think it's great. Reduce the number of pedestrian conflicts, we're lowering the speed, doing everything we can to slow traffic down, which I think is also very important. So kudos, I know a lot of work and legwork has gone into all this. Ties up on the east end to our new and improved intersection at 23. And as Phil mentioned, CASA 23 is gonna be redone, so big changes, but I think it's gonna be worth it. Other questions? All right.
Very good.
Thank you,
Thank
Bryce
you.
and Randy.
So I do have, there's 3 property owners that we've talked about. Marty Harstead is one of them, the church, and Randy Clitty. So I've got verbals with all of them, kind of walked them through. We met several times. Randy and I walked his property for probably an hour. But all good questions. So the good thing is there's kind of the old barter system that we're going back and forth on. It's not gonna cost us a lot. We're just gonna do some work with the scope of the projects to improve everything. And I will say the property owners have been great to work with on that. So that's already in motion. I had made some notes here. I think we'll take a look at maybe that Brenda crossing for a illumination of some sort, or elevating that. So we could look to maybe add that into the bid portion of that. I would maybe hold off on 27th until we see maybe what Luann is doing. If we get that development going and something happens down there, then that's probably a likely candidate for another spot as well. So we'll keep that top of mind with that one as well.
It's probably a dumb question, but is there anything we can do about the blowing snow on the western?
What we may look to do, and will work, so back in the day, and it's been hard, the last 3 years, we haven't had a lot of snow come up. On Liberty Lane, we used to do just a natural snow fence. We'd push the snow up. Since we're vacating that trail, we know the farm owners on that property, we can look to do something that way where we could create something or even put up a fence that way, because that curve and that stretch of road, we know it's bad. We see it all the time with that. Wind's got no place to stop there. So I will make a note to talk with that property owner and then work with our Public Works team to see if there's something we could do proactively. If Mother Nature doesn't help, at least maybe we can get a wind fence out there or a snow fence out there and just install it with their permission as well. Probably go to that right-of-way line where the fence or the trail currently is. So I'll make a note of that as well.
Okay, that'd be great. All right, any other questions for Phil?
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing to add. The ponding. So even though the water is gonna be conveyed over to pond on hole 10, that project will come, I anticipate we'll have that April 7th. So it's gonna be part of this project, but I didn't want it to be part of this project, so we don't have to hit those standards, so we could have a freestanding project with that. The funding's gonna come from this source because it's how we make the whole project work. But Jason and Josh are working on getting those numbers wrapped up with the same companies that have bid the prior work that's going on out there right now. So that, hopefully, worst case, it'll come back on the 21st. We're hoping to have that, depending on what our contractors' availability are for bids. But that'll come back as a freestanding project, so. And we'll take that water and then use it on the course. So again, good story to tell. We're conserving water at the course side of it, taking this water and using that as our priority water source, and then augmenting it through well water as we need to.
Great. Awesome. Well, if there's no further questions, we'd look for a motion on resolution 2621.
We'll make that motion.
No second.
We have a motion by Robin, a second by Mike. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion carried.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much for all your work on that, everybody. It's gonna be exciting. Hey, Phil, sorry, what, is that a one, like, done by fall?
That's
Just
yes.
the whole timeline?
Yes, that's the plan. It'll be in conjunction, some of it's with the county because the intersection really is their improvements. So what we're going to try and do is communicate any of the changes or the timelines through the city website as well, linking them to the county on all of those things, and we'll stay in touch with the school superintendent and transportation director, so we're all on the same page. Our goal all the time is to get everything back to at least the base paving before school starts, but our goal would be to get everything in that condition prior to that Labor Day weekend if we can. Mother Nature's always the cause, but yes, one season of construction.
Awesome, thank you. All right, letter C, Mr. Lisson has a toolcat replacement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, tonight I have for you consideration a toolcat replacement for the Public Works Department. Staff are proposing to purchase a 2026 toolcat to replace the 2021 toolcat. This piece of equipment is listed in the CIP with a replacement life of 5 years. This unit has just over 2,700 hours on it, which is an annual average of about 540 hours. The toolcats really in our department are highly used. They're probably out and about daily. They can have so many different attachments, and they work year round. So, and they are probably staff favorites as far as their ability and what they can do. So, we did get 2 bids for the replacement. Those bids were listed in the packet for you guys to review. So tonight, staff are recommending the purchase of the replacement toolcat from Lano Equipment, basically because they gave us a higher amount of trade-in value. So it's a better deal for the city. We did discuss the replacement with the Public Works Committee, and the committee said it should go forward for consideration. And our 2026 CIP does have $60,500 budgeted for the replacement of this toolcat. And so tonight, I am looking for a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2614, approving the replacement of the 2021 toolcat for the quoted price of $36,809.61. Which is the cost of the quote minus the trade-in value of $36,500 for that 2021 toolcat. I can stand for any questions.
All right, any questions for Chris? If not, somebody want to offer a motion on resolution 2614?
I make a motion we approve resolution 2614, purchase of a toolcat for Public Works.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mike, second by Rick. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. That motion carries.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. We're up to the Mahindra UTV replacement.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, the Public Works fleet added two UTVs, Mahindra UTVs, as kind of an alternative to additional trucks. They also are much smaller and have the ability to get around in places that trucks can't. So in order to do work and move people, it was a good addition to our fleet. The current Mahindra we have is due for replacement in our CIP. These pieces of equipment are used, like I said, for work vehicles and to move people, and they really are less expensive than trucks, and their size makes them much more advantageous for working in parks. They're a lot lighter, so they don't damage a sod as well, and they can drive right up to the garbage can, so when we're doing garbages, they're very handy for that as well. So it's a favorite vehicle for staff when we're doing garbages. Staff are proposing to purchase a 2026 Can-Am Defender to replace the 2019 Mahindra UTV. Like I said, this is listed in our CAP for replacement every 6 years. We did purchase a Can-Am Defender in 2024 to replace the other Mahindra UTV we had at the time, and staff have been very pleased with the Defender, how it's performed and how reliable it is. We did get 2 bids for the replacement. They are included in the packet there for your review. Tonight, staff are recommending the purchase of the Can-Am Defender as it is a better overall fit. We did have the Kubota was in here as the other quote. We did have them deliver one. Staff did drive it around, try it out. A couple things they didn't like. The cab was much smaller, tighter. We have a few bigger guys, so it was tough for them to get in and out of the cab. They didn't like that feature. Also, it was much closer to the ground, so you had less clearance. So the Defender had more clearance. So the recommendation from us is to replace the Mahindra with that Can-Am Defender. We did discuss this with Public Works Committee, and the committee did recommend that it come to council for consideration. And our budget, we had $25,000 set aside in our 2026 budget for this replacement. So the overall price of both the quotes we had were a little bit more than that budgeted amount. But the last Mahindra we had, we took it to auction. We did get a favorable amount of money for it at auction. So we proposed to dispose of this one in a similar way. And hopefully the fundings we get there would offset the difference from the quoted price and what we have budgeted. And then also our toolcat did come in quite a bit under our budget amount. So we're still good in our CIP fund overall. And with that, I would ask for a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2615, approving the replacement of the 2019 Mahindra UTV with a Can-Am Defender for the quoted price of $27,980.58, and then declaring the 2019 Mahindra surplus, and we will dispose of that in the most cost-effective manner. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Chris on the Mahindra replacement?
Well, it was good that they let you test drive both models first before going with one and then realizing, oh, this is tight or the low clearance or whatever, being able to see that, that's nice that they did that.
Yep. Yeah, it's, yeah, if you have a hard time getting in and out, it makes work a lot harder, so it was a good opportunity.
For sure.
And I believe the one that we want to get is a little more expensive, isn't it?
It's a little bit more expensive. We did, it's got the doors on it, so it will, we can use it more year round than the Mahindras didn't have doors. They just had the nets on them. So this will have the heater, so it'll be a little bit, we can take the out year round as opposed to Mahindras. Once it got really cold, staff would leave them in the garage. So, yep.
Can't blame them on that.
Yeah.
So it's worth a bit more, particularly with the solid doors that you can take off.
Absolutely. All right, any further questions for Chris? Not, does anybody want to offer a motion on Resolution 2615?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 26-15, approving the replacement of the 2019 Mahindra. And I think we also had to say to declare the other one as surplus. So
Very good.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Rick, a second by Mike. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Zwilling's here for lift station number 11 pump replacement.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight, I have an RCA and Resolution 2616 for your consideration. The pumps in lift station 11 are original from 1995. Expected life is 20 years for these pumps, which means at 31 years old, they have far exceeded their service life. Staff received 2 quotes for the replacement. They were included in the packet. Electric pump came in at $33,718. StarNet Technologies came in at $36,566. The 2026 domestic CIP has $31,000 budgeted for the pump replacement at lift station 11. We verified with finance and there are funds available to cover the slight overage. This replacement was discussed with the Public Works Committee and the committee approved this to go to council for your consideration. I am looking for a motion and a second approving Resolution 2616, approving the quotation from Electric Pump for the Lift Station 11 replacement as presented for price not to exceed $33,718. With that, I will stand with your questions.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Troy? Nope. Looks like we got our money out of those pumps.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
From what we saw, the new ones are gonna be even better, so.
That's unusual that they build something better now than they used to. All right. Wonderful. Does anybody want to offer a motion on
I
resolution?
make a motion, we approve resolution 2616, pump replacement for station 11.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike, second by Robin. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. That motion's carried. Then we're on to lift station 14, pump and control panel.
Yes, another property maintained lift station. All right, I have tonight resolution in RCA for 2617 for your consideration. Lift station 14 was installed in 2003. The pumps and control panel are original. Expected service life is 20 years for the pumps and 25 years for the control panel. As of now, the pumps and the panel are 23 years old, and staff are recommending replacement for both as planned in the domestic wastewater CIP. Staff received 2 quotes for the pump replacement. They were included in the packet. Electric pump came in at $43,198. StarNet Technologies came in at $45,520. Control panel, installation, and electrical, which comes with $78.36, will be done by Hubbard and Total Control. The total budget for the 2026 domestic wastewater for this project is $78,000. Sufficient reserves are available within the domestic wastewater CIP to provide funding for this overage. The replacement was discussed with the Public Works Committee and approved this to go to council for your consideration. I am looking for a motion and a second approving Resolution 2617, approving the pump and control panel replacement for lift station 14 for a price not to exceed $79,276.36. With that, I will stand with any questions.
Anybody have any questions on that one?
So with those control boards, even though they have a life expectancy over 20 years, what's the reality if something were to go on that we could actually get replacement stuff for that? I mean,
It's something like that. If it goes down, I mean, it's it's a lift station. I mean, you could have some, it wouldn't be good,
But I mean, is, like, if this last one here, if it went down at 23 years, I mean, are they still making parts for control boards 23 years
A
later?
lot of times not, so, I mean, it's
But
technology.
what do they do then if they say it's a 20-year life expectancy and we get 12 years out, board goes, it's still under that 20 years, but yet can't get a new one? I guess what do we do then? Is that, do they pay for that, or how does that work there?
That I'm not sure.
Is it a 20-year warranty or just a 20-year life expectancy?
20-year
Well,
life expectancy.
20-year life expectancy.
Okay,
There's,
okay.
I'm sure there is a warranty, but generally they last about 20 years, so.
Okay.
We had some control panels in the past that we replaced because they were breaking, we couldn't get parts for them.
Sure.
That's just the hardest thing for parts. I mean, after so many years, they just don't get parts from them, they're hard to get, so.
That's why I was thinking of a warranty versus a life expectancy. I guess I
Gotcha.
was thinking
That's
of it
fine.
like a warranty, so that's fine. 2003, you could buy a VCR probably, but.
Yeah, yeah.
Does this just service the History Center? I mean, looking out that road, is there, no?
Everything from Autumn Ridge pumps over down through our easement through the county's park and then comes into that lift station. So it collects quite a bit of, a good chunk of the city. Yep.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay. All right, any further questions for Troy? If not, does anybody want to offer a motion on resolution 2617 for the pump and control panel on lift station 14?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Rick, second by Mike. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion carried.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. LaRude, consent agenda.
Mayor Colbinger, City Council members, items for review, approval, or adoption on tonight's consent agenda include approving the revised hiring and termination report, authorize the Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 payment of claims as presented. The claims listing has been provided to the City Council as a separate document and is available upon request for public view at City Hall. Total claims are $464,712.52. Authorize electronic transactions as presented in the 12/31/2025 and 1/31/2026 journal. The journal has been provided to the City Council as a separate document and is available upon request for public view at City Hall. Approve the minutes of the March 3rd City Council meeting. Approve the minutes of the March 3rd executive session. Approve the renewal of the Safe Assure Service Agreement. Call for a special meeting to be held on March 19th, 2026 from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock for strategic communications training. Approve Red Circle pay for Pebble Creek Groundskeeper 2 position. Adopt Resolution 26-19, approving personnel policy updates. Accept the Community Development Code Enforcement Report. Adopt Resolution 26-13, approving 2025 year-end transfers. Adopt Resolution 26-20, approving gambling premises permit for Becker Big Lake Ice Association. Adopt Resolution 26-18, accepting a $2,500 donation from the Becker Lions Club for an AED. Adopt Resolution 26-33, approving updates to the city's municipal state aid street system. Approve temporary liquor license for the Becker Lions for the American Legion Open House Dance on May 1st. Approve the 2026 Sherburne County SCORE Funding Grant Agreement for the May 16th recycling event. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for Greg on the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, somebody want to offer a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Robin, second by Rick. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. So moving to that last number 9, before I forget, on behalf of the Legion, I want to invite everybody to their open house. So the Legion's done a lot of work on the old fire hall. Greg mentioned we approved a temporary liquor license for the Lions that night. May 1st from 4 to 7 is the open house, and after that, San Trio, the band, is going to be playing. It's a community event, and the Legion wanted to make sure that we were all invited for Friday night, May 1st. Public's invited as well to see the upgrades they've made at the Legion. May 1st, 4 to 7 open house, 7 o'clock community dance. Awesome. Moving on to number 9. So post office, last meeting we talked about the Postal Regulatory Commission complaint. I've been doing some research on a FOIA request to the post office and actually went and spoke with the township last night. They are in favor of doing a joint FOIA request asking for all communication related to the closing of the Becker Post Office. Getting a little nervous. They have not announced that, but You know, we did find out the Welsh, Minnesota post office has been temporarily closed since 2021. So Greg and I discussed it a little bit, thought it might be good to at least find out what they've been saying. And it would maybe keep them honest and allow us to get ahead of something if they come back with a plan to try to permanently close that, our post office. Because that is one of the things outlined in the Postal Regulatory Commission. They're pushing really hard on the post office to make determinations faster, which would be great if the decision is to bring it back, but if it's to close it, that would be pretty detrimental. So last night, the township approved a 50-50 cost share, and they set up to $1,000. The Postal Service has kind of a strange FOIA request. You have to make the request and tell them how much you're willing to pay.
Oh, gosh.
And then they will tell you how much it costs.
If we
So
say
that's-
we're willing to pay zero,
Right, so that's where the township came in. I'm just wondering people's thoughts and wanted to discuss that.
do we seriously, do we give them like $100 amount? Just, you know, I mean, if it's gonna cost $2,200, you know, have them come back with that. But I mean, if we come in and say $5,000, I'm sure they'll go, oh, we'll do it for $5,000.
Yeah, Greg and I talked about maybe wording the request in such a manner that we would start off with, you know, amount of, you know, $500 combined or something, or higher depending on the circumstance, and make them actually give us a price back. Because I agree, we don't want to go in there and put the stack out there of cash right away. We'd like to hear back, but can't believe it till you read it. That's quite the negotiation strategy, so. Do you have anything to add, Greg?
Okay, so would you be looking for a motion tonight then, or is that something you wanna do in 2 weeks?
It would be good to file it, I think, as soon as possible. According to the PRC, most decisions are made between 180 and 280 days from the temporary closure, so we're coming up on that. You know, by the end of next month, we'll be at the 180 days. So I think it was something we would draft soon. Again, it would be, the town board approved their chair to sign it. So I'd be looking for a motion for me to be able to sign the FOIA request. And then, if we match the township, it would be a dollar amount not to exceed $1,000 on the match, but we would put in there and try to lowball them to start with.
Now, I'm thinking about our FOIA request, for instance, if we're in the middle of a land negotiation or a contract negotiation, if we're in the middle of it, we wouldn't have to share that at the time. Like if we were in a union contract negotiation, we would have to share that after the fact. But if it was in the middle of that negotiation, we would not, like if we received a request there, we would not do it we wouldn't honor it until we were done with the negotiation. Is that something do they have rules in place that we're aware of that they could come back and say, this is an ongoing negotiation, sorry, you know, we'll give it all to you afterwards, or what do we know about their,
If you read it again, you wouldn't believe it, but they passed a whole different law surrounding the FOIA request to make it easier, is what it said. I think we would exclude any communications related to any negotiations they've had, because obviously they went back and forth with Grant several times, you know, so we wouldn't ask for something like that, but just internal communications within the USPS related to the temporary closing or future status of the Becker Post Office.
could we ask for those, but allow, you know, be okay with them, you know, redacting stuff? Because I mean, if they've had communications, that may come into the,
Sure.
you know, as far as dates and times, and we don't necessarily need to see numbers and say, hey, this number was thrown out, but dates and times would definitely be, I think, pertinent information.
Sure. We could probably word it too, asking for all communication,
Let them redact it.
omitting, yeah, anything that's not
A little
permissible.
less than the Epstein file.
Right. But at least we would know too, if there's an email out there that says, listen, we're gonna close this. You know, they haven't followed the statutory process for doing that, but the temporary closure kind of restarts that statutory process. But at least we would know now, and then we can weigh our options and look at if we want to take legal action or, so I still hear about it literally every day I go somewhere, so
So do I.
if we ended up spending $1,000 and match the township to get answers, I don't like to spend money we don't have to spend, but I don't think anybody would be, I shouldn't say anybody, I think most people feel strong enough about this issue that
The money should be spent.
money should be spent.
Might want to get Monticello involved in that too, because they're not happy over there either.
You're very right about that.
My sister lives there, and she said she can't even get in the post office.
Yeah. We could certainly do that. Craig doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna help me with the FOIA request, so.
Thanks, Greg.
That can be part of the motion too. Yeah, I think the more information we collect, the better, and
How about Big Lake?
Theirs is almost a separate,
It is, that's why I hesitated. But Monticello's directly involved.
yep,
well, and the more entities we put in there, the bigger the cost is gonna get though. So if we do go with Monticello I'd like their information, but if we do go with them, that's now more information for them to collect. It's gonna make the, like the township was 50-50 with us, but now if we have 3 entities, then
right.
it's also gonna make the size of the data set larger too, so.
Well, and I think if the FOIA request is worded correctly, anything that is a Becker thing that's affecting Monticello should be included there because Becker's mentioned, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't have much left after this, to be honest. I'm out of tricks. But, so that's just my ask tonight to see what people thought.
I'd be willing to, do we, I guess maybe before I make the motion, do we have a, dollar cap we're thinking, or do we just, match up to $1,000, or?
I asked the township for 500, they wanted to give us maximum flexibility. In case it came back and it's gonna cost 1,200, they only meet once a month, well, then you're going back to them and waiting another month, so they just authorized up to a match of $1,000. That way if we say, hey, we wanna spend 500 and it comes back at 1,100, we don't wait 2 more weeks to come back and say, hey, I need another $50.
Yeah.
So that motion would mirror the township to authorize up to $1,000 and a joint FOIA request signed by the mayor and the town board chair.
I'd be willing to make that motion.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick, a second by Robin. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed state no. All right.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lurie, for that. Just to note that we did put in a bonding bill for $1 million for our water treatment plant, so that I was at the Capitol today, and Representative Meckland was there. I did testify. It'll get laid over to committee, and of course, we won't find anything out till the very end, but I think we made a pretty compelling case. People around us are building treatment plants, and we've definitely done our due diligence with 20 years, and Chris sent me some information. I know we spent $190,000 at least, just that he identified, so they certainly can't say we haven't been looking for water.
Yeah, we've been drilling holes in the ground for several years.
Right. So, we testified on that today, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the carve-out bill, has that been introduced?
I don't believe it's been introduced yet. Nope.
Okay. Related to the data center carve-out, we're still waiting to hear status on that. All right, anybody have any further questions or any other agenda items? Mr. Knudsen?
Uh-oh. Two things, just wanted to, it noted with Becky being absent tonight, I've been in correspondence since Becky lives over off of Edgewood, is part of Public Works, and wasn't able to make these meetings. I've socialized everything we're talking about with that, and she's been fully supportive of that. So I just wanted to make sure that it was on the record that she's fully aware of it and engaged, and she's supportive of that. The other thing, shameless plug for the Lions. They are a great partner, and their fish fry is tonight, or on Friday night, the 20th, from 4 to 7 at Pebble Creek. So just making sure the public's aware of that, and all are welcome, and it's a great cause for them and a great fundraiser for them. So again, they're great business partners for us and do a lot for the community, so.
For sure. Friday night, this coming Friday,
Coming
4 to
Friday,
7.
4 to 7 at Pebble Creek.
Creek. Right. It's all you can eat too, I heard. I'll behave so they don't lose money, because they are a good partner. I will go in on that. Yeah. All right, anything else to come before council? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Robin, second by Rick. All in favor of adjourning, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state no. Meeting's adjourned, 6:04.